Welcome back to the Lumiose Post, where we talk about all things Pokemon, and today I am going to be putting out probably the weirdest, maybe even stupidest video I've ever created. Like, seriously, this is going to be a total mess, but I hope you'll bear with me because this is either going to be the dumbest video on YouTube, or, much less likely, a stroke of genius. Okay, so there's this thing that I noticed when playing through Scarlet and Violet, or rather watching the recent DLC trailer. The second I saw the legendary for the teal mask, which is Ogerpon, I immediately said, Majora's Mask? This is from someone who's never played Legend of Zelda, but the Majora's Mask, I haven't played that Legend of Zelda game, but that was the first thing I thought of when I saw this thing, and thankfully, I'm not the only one who made this connection. Dusty Go-Go did the same thing. He did a whole video on it, so yeah, I'm not the only one who's crazy, at least, so, but I saw this, I thought it was weird. You can actually see my reaction to it on the Hidden Power podcast channel. I just immediately thought Majora's Mask, and that got me kind of realizing something else. I recently played my first Legend of Zelda game. Like, I literally finished it 2 weeks ago, I think. It was Link's Awakening. I played the Game Boy version on the Virtual Console for Nintendo Switch, and I promise this has to do with Pokemon. But I played the Game Boy version of Link's Awakening, and maybe I'm on a high from that, but I started realizing some connections with that too. So I'm going to break down each thing. This is 2 theories. The first one, just going to hone in on this Majora's Mask thing with Ogerpon. I do think it is possible that Pokemon may draw inspiration from Legend of Zelda. I mean, you know, frankly, the fact is that Breath of the Wild is, you know, while not the first open world game, that is kind of like the ultimate Nintendo open world game. That is the game that, in my opinion, made Pokemon go, we should do that. You know, that's the game that, like, made them think we can do that, we should do that. That is, I mean, it definitely, even though it's not the first open world game, it is definitely one of, if not the most influential open world video game, like, in history, in video game history. So, that said, when Pokemon started implementing elements of open world, not full open world yet, but elements of it in Sword and Shield, it makes sense that they probably were inspiring a lot of their stuff on Breath of the Wild. Also, I could have sworn someone said at one point that the Breath of the Wild team helped with the wild area in Sword and Shield. I do not take that as fact. I could have sworn it's been said, but I can't find anything on it. So maybe I'm just having a Mandela effect. But please tell me in the comments below if I'm having a shared Mandela effect with someone. But yeah, I thought that, you know, if that's the case, this could add more credits to it. I think Pokemon's borrowing other things from Zelda. I do think that Ogerpon could straight up be pulling from Zelda. And now, again, I have never played Majora's Mask, and from what I've read up on, I did my best to read up on, like, the Zelda lore, and especially around Majora's Mask, so that I could, you know, make this video and it not be, you know, half worked on. Like, I want to put my all into everything, but Legend of Zelda is extremely confusing. Like, I mean, there's so many alternate dimensions, fake worlds. I'm pretty sure that the timeline, like, all the games don't exist in the same timeline. They're like branched timelines. So it's hard to understand. So please bear with me. But looking at what I could understand about the Majora's Mask, it actually would really tie in well to Scarlet and Violet. So first off, you have the fact that, okay, there is in Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, there is a mask called the Majora's Mask, if you can believe it. And what this mask is it's like, it's very dark and powerful. And so there's this character called the Skull Kid who basically steals the mask from a mask salesman. And when he puts it on, he, like, causes havoc. He, I'm pretty sure, creates this alternate world. And in this alternate world, he summons, like, this moon to fall on this alternate world in 3 days and just causes havoc all throughout this fictional world he's created. Well, it turns out that the Skull Kid is not evil and that the mask is actually influencing him. So, I would like to apply this to Scarlet and Violet and just say that this actually could make a lot of sense for Ogerpon. I previously had talked about how I think that Ogerpon is like this ravaging beast, like this just savage animal. Like, you see him kind of depicted almost werewolf-like on a sign in the forest in the trailer that we got. And I'm starting to go back on that and wonder if it's actually a little bit different. And what it is he was a beast. So Ogerpon is this beastly Pokemon. The villagers, you get like kind of a, an Absol-like thing where the villagers are like, scary beast, it's evil, banish it, and maybe even this Momotaro character that we've talked about in another video we've done, maybe he chased it out of the village and he's hailed as a hero, but the whole time, Ogerpon wasn't evil. He was just, kind of scary looking. And so maybe Ogerpon, in order to show that he's friendly, dons a mask that, conceals his ugliness, but perhaps the mask is somehow influencing Ogerpon, and so that's the evil Pokemon. That's the one that's, so ferocious and the thing that actually should be scared. Not because Ogerpon is evil, but because this mask, whatever it's made from, is influencing Ogerpon. First off, going back to that sign, you see this beastly form of Ogerpon is running from the trainer. It doesn't show it standing and fighting the trainer. The trainer didn't win an epic battle. He chased it out. So I really think Ogerpon may have been misunderstood, but now in the part that we'll play in Scarlet and Violet, he is going to be like evil because of the mask, and we'll find out the mask was influencing him. Very similar to keep comparing it to Pokemon so that I'm not like limiting this video to only Zelda fans, but similar to how Hoopa, the prison bottle, can change into its unbound form, and in the anime that unbound form is pretty much depicted as just like Hoopa doesn't have control, it's just darkness, it's evil, all this, and the prison bottle is supposed to seal it off, or release it. It's similar to that. That's what this mask is doing to Ogerpon. And the reason I think that this could be the case, this mask could have like some kind of alternate influence, is it does have Terra Crystals on it. We see Terra Crystals on it. And that could be coming from Terapagos, who is supposed to be the creator of the Terrastal phenomenon. So it makes sense that a mask, that is at least partly made up of Terra Crystals could have been made by Terapagos. And it also changes the reality of the person, right? Ogerpon is a nice Pokemon, but with this mask becomes evil because the mask is influencing it. Well, that would make sense for a Pokemon that is allegedly supposed to be able to turn imagination into real. Supposedly the Paradox Pokemon may be just imaginary and they were turned into real Pokemon from the imaginations of Heath and Sada and Toro. Sada or Toro, rather, depending on the version you play. But I think it's perfectly possible that that's what they're going for here, and that'd be kind of a cool thing with the DLC too, is you have Ogerpon, this scary-looking Pokemon. It turns out he's actually really nice, and then you have Terapagos, this cute little turtle, and it turns out that the turtle's actually kind of evil. You'll still catch it, and it'll be good when you catch it, but it's going to be like Eternatus in the sense that it's very out of control and is kind of a problem. That honestly, I really think that could be the case with Ogerpon. Now, to move into my next thing, maybe I'm on a Link's Awakening high, but in Link's Awakening, spoilers for those who haven't played the Zelda franchise and are really wanting to, in Link's Awakening, you actually are in this island, and your whole goal is to wake up the Windfish so you can leave the island. And it starts to, as you go throughout the game, get heavily implied like, no, you don't understand. When you wake up the Windfish, he's going to destroy the island. Well, eventually you wake up the Windfish, because who cares about those warnings? You got to beat the game, right? And the Windfish wakes up, and it turns out that what it was the island is the Windfish's dream, and you were a part of it. So by waking the Windfish up, the island disappears because it never existed. It was a fictional world. Well, people have been talking about how Terapagos may have created Paldea. They've noticed that's a very similar shape to Paldea. What if Terapagos did create Paldea, but it's not real? I don't think that Scarlet and Violet will end with, you know, you finding out that Paldea's disappearing just like the island from Link's Awakening, but I do think you could find out that Paldea is not a real region that's been around for so long. This history behind it is fake. Everything about the island is fake. Maybe, you know, I don't know how you could figure this out, but perhaps when you go to, like, Blueberry Academy, maybe, like, people are really skeptical of you and are like, he's from that Paldea region. That's, like, a brand new region. We haven't known about that region. It's like, how have you not known about that region? There was, like, a whole Paldean Empire, and it turns out, no, there actually wasn't. I think that, seriously, you could end up being a part of an imaginary world. And you have to think, you moved to Paldea, so you're real. But, again, I think it could all be from the imagination, the dream, if you will, of Terapagos. Again, you have to think this is a Pokemon that allegedly can take dreams and imagination and turn them into reality. If that's the case, why not do that with Paldea? Again, maybe I'm just on a Zelda high, but I really think it's possible. Also, I will point out that with Majora's Mask, the game actually does involve time travel. Link arrives in the fictional world, like, right when the moon's about to crash, and he travels back in time 3 days to stop it. So, you know, time travel, Scarlet and Violet, it definitely all ties together. I don't know. I just noticed a bunch of connections that I thought were like, okay, that's too many connections, and wanted to throw this out there. And I really do think that, especially on Ogerpon, I could be onto something, and that the mask could be influencing Ogerpon. And Ogerpon really isn't a bad Pokemon when you take the mask off. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know what you think of the Legend of Zelda franchise. I just played Link's Awakening. What should I play next? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. And until next time, I will see all of you later.